Hey guys, Scott back with a new beer dissection video for you. Again, I know some people watch all my videos, some watch a few scattered ones, and some of you are brand new to my channel. What I did recently, depending on when you're watching this video, I picked up another basically 6 or 7 crowlers from one of my favorite breweries, especially up in the North Country in the Adirondacks from Lake Placid Pub and Brewery. This one's going to be High Peaks Hefeweizen, okay, or Weissbier. If you are interested in this brewery, under my beer dissection, I have a bunch of beers like the famous Ubu Ale that they brew. You may see me interchangeably use Lake Placid Pub and Brewery and Big Slide because Big Slide's only, Lake Placid Pub and Brewery is like the mothership. Big Slide Brewery is about a mile or two down the road. I'll call their sister brewery, and they are opening one, I believe, in Saranac soon. If not now, how construction goes, maybe it's in the spring. If someone works for them, they can definitely chime in at the bottom of my YouTube comments and or Facebook. So I recently got 6 others, IPA. I won't go through all of them. I can't think off the top of my head because I just got them yesterday. But this one is High Peaks Hefeweizen or Weissbier. Remember, under my What Is style, I did a whole explanation about the style of Hefeweizen and a little bit of the history of Hefeweizen in Germany and it being like the second most common beer drank in Bavaria and so on and so forth. So I would check that out. So this one we're going to review today is at 5.6% alcohol. There's a traditional wheat beer. So yeah, Hefeweizen definitely. Hefe means yeast. Weizen means wheat. I go through that in that video. Weissbier means white beer, and because of the characteristics of what wheat will do to beer, make it like a lot hazier, cloudy. It's kind of the original cloudy hazy beer, I should say. And they do use it, believe it or not, in New England hazies and juicies. So again, I don't want to go down too much of a wormhole there, but just a little bit of a slight refresher from that style. I'll try to remember at the end of this video to tag it at the very end, how YouTube has that little box. For those of you who are beer geeks and you'd like to learn a little bit more about the style of Weissbier. I think I go through some of the specs from the BJCP, some of the history. It's only a few minutes longer than my typical beer dissection videos. All right, for this style, it's classic to use a Weissbier glass, which this is one of mine. I unfortunately had one right from Germany when I was there doing an Ironman triathlon, Challenge Roth, and I didn't literally cry, but I was very upset. It was like this, but it was the Franziskaner glass that chipped and broke. But I'm using this one from Big Ass Beer from Dick's Last Resort in Myrtle Beach, but it is a Weissbier glass. So this is ideal. And the reason why, when we're pouring this one out, you expect to get like up to 5 inches of head on this, okay? Because it should be a very effervescent, highly carbonated beer. Different than when you're pouring a typical beer. You want like 1-2 inches. This one you do want, and that's why they make the glass this way. As you can see, kind of the taper to the top. So this is made specifically for this style of beer. But you can hold, and again, the other reason why it's bigger, even though this crowler is a typical 32 ounces, a lot of times the bottles that you'll get of German at your local beer store, German authentic Weissbier or Hefeweizen, they're usually in like 16, they don't use ounces, but it's like roughly 16 ounces to 20 ounce bottles. So you want to have a nice lot of room for the beer as well as the head. All right, so probably a little more of the details of this beer. I think the IBUs are 8 to 15. I could be off. I'm a little rusty on my BJCP numbers. But watch that video if you do find that stuff interesting. All right, so let's crack this bad boy open and check it out. We usually visit Lake Placid a couple times, 2-3 times a year, more likely 2 times a year. We haven't been able to get up there, so I love their beer, the famous Ubu Ale, which is like an English strong ale, which again, I think under the What Is style, I did a thing on English strong ale and I had the Ubu Ale. That's a phenomenal beer. All right. So let's pour this out and get right to it. All right. So obviously I'm not going to be able to pour the whole thing. And yep, there's the crowler was shooken up a little bit, so it's of course contributing to it. So there's a chance I may do a quick pause, let this settle for a second before we officially review it. And that's exactly what we're going to do. Okay, guys, I poured it, and I still got a lot of head here, but enough that I could actually continue the video. Now, with Hefeweizen, they use a specific yeast for Hefeweizen. I'm sure, like Placid Pub and Brewery, I haven't even smelt this yet, did the same thing. I reviewed one of their Kolsch recipes, and they use a genuine Kolsch yeast in that beer, so I'm sure they're using the classic Hefeweizen yeast. And the Hefeweizen yeast, what are we looking for? If you watch that video of mine, you're looking for that phenolic clove character. You're looking for the ester character of like banana isoamyl acetate. It gives you that ripened banana aroma as well as flavor. Some people perceive it as bubblegum. You know, they get the aromas of bubblegum also. I usually pick it up as that. So I'm expecting that's what we're going to see here in this wheat beer. In American wheat beer, you shouldn't get that. They don't use that type of yeast. So that's why, like, I think it's Widmer, they make a Hefeweizen, but it's really more of an American wheat, which is fine. That's just a different style of beer. But it's, you know, I don't want to say it's false advertising, but when I see Hefeweizen, okay, Hefe meaning yeast, Weizen meaning wheat, like I said, you're expecting usually that clove character and or banana character, and it can swing depending on fermentation temperatures and things like that, but they should definitely be using that yeast. So anyway, let's take a look at this. Nice, pronounced, is exactly why we use this glass, about 3-4 inches of white, pretty dense foam head, very supportive. Color-wise, we got that kind of dark straw, light gold color. Again, this is the original hazy, so the cloudiness in there is probably from the proteins from the wheat as well as the yeast character too. Sometimes it doesn't flocculate as much and drop down. So what happens is it has that kind of, gives you that cloudy appearance and everything like that. So anyway, so let's look at this one more time before I drink it. Let's take a sniff of the aroma. Oh yeah, you know, just by smelling it, if you've had Weissbier, Hefeweizen, it smells exactly like it. You're definitely getting the clove and the banana. I find it almost equal. It's not like, no, it's probably a little more biased towards the banana than the clove, but there is that nice phenolic spiciness on the nose of the clove, without a doubt. So this is definitely just aroma alone is true to style. Okay, and it smells very similar to a lot of your import Hefeweizens. Okay, so I'm trying to just check something on my clock. All right, there we go. You know, you get this, you know, doughy malt character on the nose too, which is, again, they're using, you know, usually in Germany, they usually have to use at least 50% wheat. Most of the time they're using 60-70% wheat. I'm sure they're probably, in the United States, we don't have the same rules, but I have a feeling they're probably using close to that 60-70% wheat. But you get that billowy, fluffy, kind of white bread, doughy kind of character to the malt. All right, guys? One more sniff of that, but really good, though. If you're a Weissbier fan, you'll be happy with it so far in the aroma. I didn't say cheers or prost, but wow. Got that high carbonation, crisp. First thing I'm getting is the malt, believe it or not. I'm getting that white bready. But also I get those banana notes, the esters from the banana. Again, it's isoamyl acetate, which is the actual compound from the yeast. Not as much clove on the flavor as I did on the aroma. So it's probably a little more biased on my taste buds, at least my perception. Others may have it different. More banana, more sided to the banana, even though on the aroma, it seemed pretty balanced between the two. Needless to say, you know, obviously there's no alcoholic warmth, not at 6%, whatever I said it was. You know, there's a slight little creaminess on the back end. One thing I wanted to, yeah, see, I don't get the banana. Some people perceive it as banana, the combination of that isoamyl acetate for the banana and the clove. I don't get that bubblegum kind of aroma on there. So bitterness is pretty low, which in this style, that's normal. Again, I'm rusty with my numbers. I apologize. I want to say it's 8 to 15 is the IBUs for authentic German Weiss beer. American, I think, is 15 to 30. But really good, guys. Very crisp, clean. Pretty much what you would expect for a traditional German Weiss beer. Again, biased towards the banana. Okay, definitely on the flavor. On the aroma, it seemed pretty balanced between the two, but I could tell they're using authentic. I've homebrewed with this yeast before. The first time I did it, I thought there was something wrong. It was contaminated. I wasn't quite the beer geek I am now. Back 20 years ago, 25, maybe, God, how long I've been brewing, 20, 25 years. But I remember smelling of that clove and banana, thinking that something was contaminated, but this is exceptional. This is a beer, if you like wheat beers or you like light, beers, to try to transition into craft beer by trying a Hefeweizen or even just trying American wheat beer, especially those of you who are very dedicated to your Bud Lights and your Coors and any other American light lager. But this is spot on. So if you do like true Hefeweizen, German Hefeweizen, I would check this one out. In the grade-wise, also, this is one I used in my video that I did at Christmas time last year, like a brunch beer that you could actually drink it at brunch. It would go great with, sausages, light breakfast, instead of using like mimosas. That's kind of what was the theme of that video. So I won't go down that wormhole too much either. But grade-wise, guys, this Lake Placid Pub and Brewery, High Peaks, Hefeweizen, the High Peaks region is the region, the mountainous region up there in the Adirondacks. Overall drinkability, enjoyability, it's fantastic. I got to give it a good A. A plus. If I was comparing it to some of the German big boys, I'd maybe bring it down to A minus. Those just, I think, have a little bit more of that clove character on the flavor. Those are a little bit more chewy. That's one thing I didn't mention here is the mouthfeel on this is pretty light. Light-bodied. Usually I like it more like kind of that medium body, almost like you're not saying you're chewing something, but you kind of got that billowy, doughy mouthfeel to it. So that's the only thing, but it's a small knock. I would not hesitate to have this many times. So again, overall drinkability, enjoyability, A plus. If I had to compare it to the authentic ones, as long as you can get them fresh, because this one's very fresh, maybe I'm bringing down 8 minus, but it's still an outstanding beer. And that's why I don't really can get beer shipped from too many places other than from New York down here. But I will go out of my way and pay the extra amount of money and get some crowlers from this brewery. So anyway, guys, outstanding beer. If you like traditional German Hefeweizen Weiss beer, again, Weiss beer meaning white beer, Hefeweizen, I already told you, wheat, Weizen meaning yeast, Hefe meaning yeast, Weizen meaning wheat. You really enjoy this one from Lake Placid Pub and Brewery, and I'm going to enjoy the rest of this crowler. If you like American wheat, it's a completely different style. You don't get the isoamyl acetate for the bananas, and you don't get the clove character. And even as I'm smelling it before I sign off, and you can even see, you got even the head persisting a little bit there in my Weiss beer glass. So anyway, guys, highly recommended. Till the next beer video, beer dissection video, any just general beer video, whatever. I'll see you next time. I will tag it if it hasn't already popped up, the video that if you want to read a little bit more about the history of Weiss beer. All right? Take care, guys. Bye-bye.